Welcome to Fraser Mac Gaming, I'm Fraser Mac. The eShop is full of some great games from indie titles, retro classics, all the way through to AAA experiences. There's always good deals from devs trying to promote their game, boost sales or offer a pre-order discount. There's loads of games available in the eShop for up to 90% off. It's all part of the massive summer eShop sale, so I put together a list of 10 games for under £1. Yep, they're all under £1 and they don't all stink. So let's find out which games you could be playing, which games will blow you away, and which games are just cheap trash. So all these games are under £1 and they'll be available on this discount until the 25th of July. So up until midnight on the 24th they'll be available massively discounted. The first game up is the Way Remastered from Sonka and Puzzling Dream. It's sat on a Metacritic around 63 and 6.7 from users, so a fairly average game, but it tells a story of a member of a space exploration team who's lost a beloved and cannot accept their death. So you're on a story-based puzzle platforming adventure with some really lovely retro pixelated artwork, some really nice backgrounds, some really good works going into like the flora and the fauna. There's 200 screens apparently to go through. There's lots of challenging elements of the gameplay, they say. You've got to uncover the mysteries surrounding the planet and learn the story, and also you gain new abilities as you go. It's obviously a remastered version, so there's voiceovers added in, there's some graphical improvements, they've included HD Rumble. I'm not really a big fan of it to be honest, but there's a music player as well, and you can also game and level design changes based on players' feedback. The Way Remastered is only 89p until the end of the discount period. It's usually £13.49, so it's an interesting one. I've already picked it up, but I've not had a chance to play it, so go on the eShop and check it out if it's something you're interested in. The second game on the list is Violet. Now, I'm going to quickly mention this. It's from Forever Entertainment. It has a Metacritic of 45. There are some very varied reviews, from very good to very bad, so some people like it, but some people really hate it. It's very much Marmite. What I would say is Forever Entertainment are involved in a lot of games coming to the eShop. They seem to be involved in quantity over quality. And it's not to say that every game they've been involved in is bad, but I've had a very mixed experience. So Violet, I've seen the trailer previously and seen it mentioned. It came out in October 2017 apparently. I can't believe it's gone that quick, but it is a point-and-click adventure game. Some of the artwork looks quite interesting. The backgrounds, anyway, quite cool, quite colourful. I think that essentially you are a rebellious teenager who's been moved away from her friends and her normal city life. The story seems to go down a route of something similar to The Borrowers, where you're in miniature and you're having to find your way back to being the normal size. It also seems to be very much taking elements from one of the Gnomes movies that I've seen. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but in terms of the gameplay, people have criticised the controls. It is a point-and-click adventure. I understand that people have said it's supposed to be used with a touchscreen, or it's easier to use with a touchscreen, whether you actually like to do that or not. The actual controls themselves, using the Joy-Cons, it's supposed to be challenging and not that well done. So Violet's only 89p and it's available on the eShop now, and there is a demo available as well. The next game on the list is from some more memorable or more positively thought of developers. It's Satui. So they've got retro roots with a modern mojo. You might be familiar with them. They've been doing games on Nintendo consoles from all sorts of things like the 3DS, the Wii U, and now the Switch. And the game on this list, another one that's 89p, it's Xenodrifter. So it might be a fairly short and sweet adventure, but it's a kind of action platform and adventure game. It's got some really quite fun retro style graphics, something I've played and I've picked up before, and it's got the tagline of drifting through the stars. So you are a Xenodrifter and you're travelling across the stars on a simple mission of exploration. So it's only 4 planets, so maybe not the biggest adventure, but it's supposed to be quite well done, quite charming. It's got a Metacritic of 71, and also Nintendo World Report actually gave it 85, so this is a very, very cheap opportunity. It is fairly common to see it on the eShop discounts list, but it's also fairly common to see it rising up those charts, and it's got a mixture of different styles of gameplay. You can see boss fights, you can see a little bit of underwater action, all those classic kind of platform and 2D things you'd expect, but it's been out there for a while. It's only 89p, and I too going to feature on another video I'm doing just now of other games on the eShop, but Xenodrifter could be one for you and a fairly cheap experience. Next game on the list is another one from Forever Entertainment, but it's also from Swimming Scorpions. It is Startide. It's again only 89p, and if you're a mech battle fan, this could be something that's interesting. It's another top-down shooter. It has a lot more freedom of movement than other games that you might expect or you've probably played if you're a shoot-'em-up fan. Startide looks fairly basic graphically, so I'm not basing too much off that. But you can upgrade your mechs. There are 9 different mechas to choose from. There's lots of guns and close combat weapons you can use. You can also have special skill combos that can suit your gameplay. It has a story mode. It could be something worth playing. It's only 89p. Startide is on discount until July 25th. Up next is the first entry from Cubic Games that I'm going to show off today, and it's Utopia 9: A Volatile Vacation. It's actually got a couple of reviews of around 75 on Metacritic from smaller outlets, so it might be something that's worth playing. It's only 89p yet again. That seems to be the magic number on this list for most publishers and devs. It's a twin-stick shooter, it involves mutants, it's a roguelike experience, you can play co-op, there's 40 weapons, there's lots of mutations to grant new abilities, and enemies evolve as you play through the game. So there are achievements as well. It could be interesting, and that's Utopia 9: A Volatile Vacation. There's more Cubic Games action on the way, and this time it's Robonauts, and actually for a change it's 92p. There's also a demo available of this game, so there's very little risk available, and what I'd say is Robonauts has actually been reviewed very well. It's obviously a very small experience, but it's had reviews of Metacritic's averaging at 71, 6.8 from users, but it did get a 90 from Nintendo Enthusiast. So you can place as much weight on these outlets as you want, but some people have really enjoyed the game. So obviously it's a shooter, it's got a kind of magnetic planet style design, but it's quite colourful graphics, quite interesting. It's probably not the biggest experience, so there's 12 unique planets. You can play single player or multiplayer. There's a large variety of weapons and enemies. There's, really cool art style. I think it's quite colourful, quite interesting. I like it. And it's got epic music apparently from Simon Viklund. So if you're familiar with Simon Vikland's work, then it's something to enjoy. It's got fairly easy controls, so you can just pick up and play. I think it's something you can enjoy playing with someone younger. If you've got a little brother or sister, or you've got your own son or daughter or something like that, and it's a little bit of family fun. It's got 2 difficulty settings, so you can adapt that. But Robonauts, it's a bit of fun. It's fairly cheap, obviously, at 92p. I think that's an absolute bargain. I don't like to bash anyone. I think anyone who can actually make a game is far more talented than myself, but this is another game for Forever Entertainment, and the whole premise is just crazy. As soon as I saw it, I had to include it on the list. So the game is Frederic: The Resurrection of Music, and the premise is you're stepping into Frederic Chopin's shoes. Yes, you heard that right. Frederic Chopin, the classical composer who is world-renowned throughout history, has been put into an indie game. So I don't think there's been any rights or any approval for this, but Frederic Chopin has been brought back from the afterlife and is involved in musical rhythm battles to prevent a treacherous plan from some evil music monstrosity. So the world of music is at the edge of destruction apparently, and your fight against soulless music labels and mass-produced pop stars. It sounds ridiculous. I think it's just a huge, ironic, stupid joke, but you're involved in 9 musical duels that look like some sort of mobile touchscreen game with ridiculous hand-drawn art in the background. There's 9 compositions of classical Frederic Chopin masterpieces. Oh my god, I don't know how this game hasn't been banned. They must have really ripped them off and synthesized them a lot to get away with this. But there's an hour-long comic, obviously hand-drawn art as I've mentioned. There's a quirky story. Yes, it's a very quirky story. And you've got to practice your skills to perfection. So Frederic: The Resurrection of Music is one of a trilogy of games, and it's only 91p. Coming back to something like a sensible game and a genuine attempt to make an indie game that is fun, we've got Transcripted. It's only 89p yet again, that magic number. It's from Plug-in Digital, so they made Stirred and Binary Stars, and this game, it's actually free if you own Stirred and Binary Stars, so someone online actually helped me find that out, so thanks for that. It's got a Metacritic score of 76 or 7.8 from users, and Nintendo World Report actually gave it 85. It's a pretty unique mix of game styles or genres. It combines twin-stick shooter elements with a match-3 puzzle game. So you've got to take control of the nanoprobe, so you're a microscopic ship. So imagine you're in Rick and Morty or Inner Space, and I think you're on the right lines. There's 25 core campaign missions and 5 challenging levels. So Transcripted is 89p and a genuinely plug-in digital. I couldn't recommend them enough. And if you're a fan of shooters or match puzzle games, then this one could be for you. We're on to the penultimate game now, and it's another one from Cubic Games, but it's also from Retro Reactor, and it is One Strike. So this one's only 88p, so it's just going that 1p cheaper. It's just trying to undercut the opposition, I believe. So One Strike, essentially it is like an arcade fighting game, like the old classics, but it is one-hit kills. So quite an interesting dynamic. It's based on 6 fighters in a medieval Japanese style. I think it's been on the eShop for quite a while, but it did get pulled initially, I believe, because there was a track that there was some sort of claim over. It's now obviously back on the eShop. It fairly often appears on the discounts. It looks kind of cool. It's obviously fairly limited in terms of the graphical style, but quite an interesting, different dynamic to fighting games. And it's obviously got 4 modes. There's 1 life, where you only have literally 1 strike and that's it. You have 5 lives to train in arcade mode with your character, or there's a team duel or tournament mode. So One Strike is available now, only 88p. We're on to the last game on the list now, and it is actually one of the most interesting ones and probably one of the best reviewed games. It is from Perfect Hack Games, and it's Membrane. The aim of the game is to build, bend or break your way through a 2D platforming world. It obviously looks graphically quite simplistic, but quite bright, quite interesting, and you have to use your mind and kind of think outside the box to get through some interesting platforming challenges. So it's actually been reviewed very well. So Nintendo Life gave it 90. I think they obviously really enjoyed it, really liked kind of a creative puzzle game. It's kind of a little bit out of the ordinary. It's got 71 on average on Metacritic and a 7.4 from users. So again, it's only 93p, and I think this looks like quite an interesting game. If you like games like Typo Man or those sorts of style puzzle games, it could be something you actually really enjoy. So I'd say that's the last game on the list, and Perfect Hack Games Membrane I think is the perfect way to finish. So those are my 10 games for under £1 on the eShop summer sale, so I think there's some great bargains there. I'd say there's also some trash, but there's some funny games that are worth looking at, and obviously Frederic, the resurrection of music, it just made me laugh when I saw that game existed and there's actually a trilogy. So props to Forever Entertainment for that one. I don't know how they managed to get 3 games out of it, but I think my favourites, obviously I really do like a TUI, so Xenodrifter's a fun little experience, Robonauts obviously, and then Membrane looks like quite an interesting one as well. Transcripted, obviously if you're a fan of shoot 'em ups and stirred in binary stars, go and check that out. So that's all we've got time for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and please leave me some comments down below about the games you've picked up on the eShop summer sale, or if there's any on this list that you like or you've picked up. That's all we've got time for this week, and I'll see you in the next video.